Objective 131, graphing parabolas. Now obviously the first question is going to say, recall that the graph of a quadratic function is a what? What shape do we get?
Parabola.
A parabola.
A U.
Now, the good thing about Objective 131, when you're actually doing this, we're going to talk about some stuff today that I want to teach you some stuff about parabolas and quadratic functions, but legit, when you do this, every single problem you get on 131 starts out with graph something that says y equals. If you have your graphing calculator, anything that says y equals, you can put in here and graph and see what it looks like. Well, you might have to zoom out or zoom in or zoom out at some point. As long as there's nothing but x's on the right side, you can graph away. So on Objective 131, when you do it, if you want to just graph it, graph it. But I want to actually talk a little bit about the shapes because you don't necessarily need to rely on the graphing calculator. Have it when you do your EOI and you want to make sure you get the right questions, or you do an ACT, use it. But you kind of should expect what you're going to graph based on just a few things here. All right, now, two things I want you to take note of. I'm going to tell you two different forms of these quadratic functions. One we talked about last week, and that's what standard form is. There's no parentheses, it's all laid out. You got an x squared piece, an x piece, and a number. It's quadratic, we know why, because of the x squared. This is called standard form. An example might be, I don't know, give me some number.
12.
Or 10. 10x squared
8
plus 8x, and I'm going to say minus whatever. What?
12. Yeah, 12.
Minus 12. All right, that's an example of what a quadratic function might look like. 10x squared plus 8x minus 12. Now that first number, where the a is, that tells you what the shape's going to look like. So it's going to tell you if it opens up or it opens down. If this is positive, like this one, it's going to open up. So go ahead and just put opens up and then just draw like the little U. Opens up. And it looks like this. And then if that's negative, instead of opening up, it's going to open down. And it'll be upside down. So just based on the fact that the first number is positive, you'll know it looks like this. And if the first number is negative, you'll know it looks like this. So even without the graphing calculator, you kind of actually have a little bit of an idea what you expect. And if you put in the graphing calculator and get something crazy different, well, maybe double check it. Make sure that you put it in right. Now we talked last week, this part you might not remember as much, but this number, the C, actually tells you something else.
Where it starts.
Not, well, yeah, maybe.
Where the middle.
Where it touches, not the x-axis, but it's where it touches the y-axis. So when you put this negative 12 down here, this little U shape, it's a U because it's positive, it's going to cross the y-axis way down there at negative 12. So that's where it crosses the y-axis. It's the y-intercept for this parabola. Y-intercept of the parabola. Just knowing those two things, we could probably get these things right, or at least get 50-50. You can eliminate some answers that you know aren't right. And that's standard form. The other form we're going to talk about when we get to the end is vertex form. And then I want to know which one you like better. Which brings us to this middle thing. The axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry. All right, what the axis of symmetry is. You know what a parabola is. It's a U. Let's sketch you a U. There's a parabola, just a floating in space parabola. Parabola. Happy little parabola. All right, now parabola is symmetric. If I did the axis of symmetry, what it is it's going to be a vertical line that cuts this in half, right down the middle. So an axis of symmetry is this. It's a vertical line that cuts the parabola into two equal parts.
That is a really straight line.
It's not that. I've been drawing lines all day. The axis of symmetry, what is it?
Vertical line that.
Vertical line.
The parabola.
In equal halves.
Yeah, cuts the parabola in half. So it's a vertical line. Axis of symmetry is a vertical line that cuts the parabola in half. So.
I like that word parabola.
You should get one. You should like make a.
We're doing parabolas all week too.
You should like make a printout and like put it on the wall, like right here. Put parabola.
Parabola.
It'd be so inspiring.
Yeah.
Here's the parabola. Okay, the axis of symmetry. Now, if I'm talking though about a vertical line, remember that the equations for vertical lines, this goes back to Algebra 1, the equation for a vertical line is x equals a number. That's where we get this x equals. Now we actually talked about this on our last notes. It's the quadratic formula if you knock the square root off of it. The plus and minus square root gone. Negative b over 2a. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Well, just all that stuff over here is gone. The negative b over 2a tells us the axis of symmetry with the x equals. X equals some number. That's the axis of symmetry. What we did the other day with it was this, and we're gonna still do it. This negative b over 2a will tell you the x part of the vertex as well. So it's two things. It tells you the axis of symmetry, and it tells you the x part of the vertex. So let's look at our first example. Here's a quadratic function. Now, based on this, we can tell that the parabola is going to open which way? Up. But all four of your answer choices open up, right?
Yes.
That doesn't help us much. This tells us what? It crosses the y at 3. Now, don't you have two of those?
Yeah.
If you look at your four answer choices, that is out. A is not good. But B, yeah, B's crossing at 3. C's definitely not. But D is. So here's what's going to help us. If I could find the axis of symmetry, notice one thing about B and D. The axis of symmetry on this one is a little bit left of the y-intercept, or the y-axis. The axis of symmetry on this one's a little bit on the right. So is the axis of symmetry positive or negative?
Positive.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do to find the axis of symmetry, do negative b over 2a for this, which would make negative 2 over what?
2 parentheses 3.
2 parentheses 3? That's not in focus. Here's my axis of symmetry. It's negative 1/3. So my axis of symmetry is the vertical line x equals negative 1/3. X equals negative 1/3. Which means my vertex, this is obviously, it makes B the right answer, for sure. Because the axis of symmetry that cuts in half, right there, it's a negative 1/3. So my vertex is negative 1/3, comma, what can I do with that negative 1/3 to find the y part of the vertex?
Flip it.
No, what, flip it? What do you mean? Like flip it to positive 3? I don't know if that's it. What do you remember how we do it? Once you have the x part of it, what do we do to find the y part?
Plug the x coordinate into the function for y.
Yeah, plug the negative 1/3 in for what letter?
Y. No, the x is.
Yeah, plug it in on this side. So if it's negative 1/3, you can go. We're going to go 3 times negative 1/3 squared plus 2 times negative 1/3 plus 3. And you end up getting 8/3. 8/3 is good. It's also 2 2/3. I'll just put 8/3. All right, so there is your axis of symmetry. Is x equals negative 1/3, and your vertex is negative 1/3, comma 8/3. All right, example 2. I've got another one that's in standard form for a parabola. So it's 3 pieces here. And I'm going to say, identify this graph, then tell me what the vertex and the axis of symmetry is. So first, this is positive, so that means it's going to open up or up and down. Up or down?
You already gave it.
I know. It was already,
Open up.
so we're opening up. So which two answers have us opening up? A and C. Now what does the 5 tell us? What does this 5 tell us?
Oh.
It's going to cross the y-axis. The problem is A and C both cross at 5, don't they?
Yes.
All right, so it doesn't help much. So what we need to know is the axis of symmetry over here at what appears to be positive 3? Or is the axis of symmetry over here at what appears to be negative 3? Well, what do I do to find the axis of symmetry? Negative b over 2a, which is going to make it negative 6 over 2 times 1. So basically negative 6 over 1, which is negative 3. So the axis of symmetry is x equals negative 3. Axis of symmetry, x equals negative 3. The other thing about the axis of symmetry is it's also the x part of your vertex. Negative 3. So what is our right answer here?
C.
C. Because it's the one that has the axis of symmetry. What I want you to do on C, though, is I want you to sketch the axis of symmetry where it goes, which is right here. You can do it either dotted or solid, I don't care. Just know that is the axis of symmetry, and it is x equals negative 3. All right, there's my axis of symmetry. So my vertex right here is at negative 3, comma, and you can actually visually see this one. What's the y part?
4. Negative 4.
Negative 3. Negative 3, negative 4. So my vertex is at negative 3, negative 4. And just to show, for sure, if you did it the other way, if I put negative 3's in, what these x's are, I get negative 4. All right, that's the standard form. You got x squared, x, and your number. Now I'm going to show you the other form, and you can decide. This form, I think everybody last hour liked this other form better, and it's called vertex form. And here's what's great about vertex form. You're going to be able to look at the equation without using the calculator at all. It's not needed. You're going to be able to tell what the vertex is immediately. So here's vertex form. It goes y equals a, then there's a parenthesis where it goes x minus h squared, and then some number out here, plus k. A, whatever number's here, it's the same A as before. It just basically says if it's positive, you open up. If it's negative, you open down. So it's the same A. It's the open up, open down number. Tells us up or down. Kind of parabola we're looking at. Like this, or like this. So that's good. A is the same. What's in the parenthesis, though, and the number out to the far right, that's the vertex. Now, this says negative h. The vertex is hk. So one thing to know is whatever number is in this parenthesis, you flip it and make it your x-coordinate. And then whatever number's out here, that's what's out here. So you're going to see how this works and how easy it is to find the vertex. Just take this number and flip it, and take this number. There's your vertex. So let's look at one example where we have an equation in vertex form. Vertex, you know you're looking at vertex form when you have that parenthesis that's being squared. Okay.
Gotta go find a fire.
First thing is there is no number out here, so it's positive 1. So this is a parabola that opens up. Out of your 4 answers, how many open up?
B and D.
Yeah. B and D open up. The question is, where's the vertex? Take the number inside and make it opposite. So it's negative 1. Take the number outside just like it is. It's negative 3. So your vertex is at negative 1, negative 3, and we are opening up. So which one shows that?
B.
Yeah, B. It's negative 3. 1, negative 3. So here's your vertex. Also note one thing. The axis of symmetry is always going to be the same as the x-coordinate. So the axis of symmetry is x equals negative 1. Go ahead and write that. If you want to go axis of symmetry, x equals negative 1. The axis of symmetry. And then sketch the axis of symmetry on here.